Okay, forced air induction. Basically what this is, let's talk about volumetric efficiency. A 5.0 liter engine, if it was efficient and use up all the air that goes in it, it would use up 5.0 liters of air to be able to fill that cylinder, but it doesn't. To improve the volumetric efficiency, they use something called forced air induction, which is turbochargers or superchargers. Turbochargers uses expanding exhaust gases to compress the intake air. Superchargers are driven by a belt compressing the intake air. The more air we get into that cylinder, matching with the fuel, the more torque we get from the engine. And that's why we use forced air induction systems like turbochargers and superchargers. The intercooler is a heat transfer device that cools the compressed intake air. That helps control the temperature. Here's a turbocharger. We had a turbocharger here. Let's look at the air. The turbocharged here. It brings air in, forces it in to pass the air cooler into the engine, past the intake valve. Once the airflow mixture is burned, the exhaust valve opens up and exhaust leaves, going past the wastegate. As it's traveling through this cycle here, the exhaust actually spins the turbine. When it's spinning the turbine, it draws air in and the cycle repeats itself. Here is a centrifugal pump, air drawn in and pushed out. One of the most important things you do with a turbine is oil changes and lubrication and clean oil. Here you see the bearings, oil inlet. It's just a cutaway view of the internal parts of the turbo. Turbo boost. As you can see here, this wastegate. This wastegate controls the boost pressure. Now you can't let the boost pressure get too high because you're going to damage something. So when inputs to the computer, if it's computer control, or some other actuator see a load on the vehicle, or excessive boost on the vehicle, the wastegate opens up and bleeds off the pressure from the turbine. It actually bleeds the exhaust back into the exhaust, so you can actually understand it. Instead of letting all the exhaust go around the turbine, it actually opens up and bleeds it back into the regular exhaust flow. The intercooler controls the boost temperature. Also, so it won't damage the turbocharger. So this controls the boost temperature. Wastegate controls the boost pressure. You can see here, the wastegate in a closed position, forcing exhaust to go around through the turbine. See, the exhaust is going in. It's my wastegate actuator. It's closed. And then all the exhaust out here to go to the turbine. You see here, that's a wastegate door. In this case here, when the wastegate is open, position letting exhaust flow out of the exhaust. Exhaust flow out of the wastegate. So here, my exhaust going in, this opens up the wastegate and bleeds off the exhaust flow, not preventing some of the exhaust from reaching the turbine to decrease the pressure inside the system. In other words, slowing down the turbine. The wastegate door is open at this point, and now it's cracked open. And actually bleeding some of the exhaust back into the exhaust, the regular flow of the exhaust. As you can see here, maximum exhaust flow, spin the turbine, open up the door, least exhaust flow. So the wastegates control the boost pressure. Here's some of the plumbing. Intake air, pressurized outlet, exhaust manifold, exhaust outlet, oil pressure lines, coolant delivery system. You can see here it's a very tight squeeze. Look at this one. Look at this monster. And here's the intercooler. And the intercooler controls boost temperature. Now, they all not this big, but that's the purpose of it. So this intercooler itself controls the boost temperature, help preventing damage to the turbo system. Now, that was a basic overview of the turbo system. If you didn't understand anything, let me know in class, and I try to explain to you again. So remember the basics of this. Wastegate controls the boost pressure. Intercooler controls the temperature of the boost temperature. Volumetric efficiency. Turbochargers increase the volumetric efficiency of either a turbocharger or a supercharger by forcing more air into the system. Okay, let's go to the next presentation. Peace.